Hello, everyone. This is David, Fairly Secret Music. Haven't done one of these in a while. I decided I was going to reply to something that Metal Mickey posted today. And let me see. I want to make sure I remember what he called that. Um, so he called A Touch Too Much. His video is A Touch Too Much. And it was basically albums that he just really didn't get into at first, but over time he has grown to love them. And there's been quite a few. Technically not Spreading the Disease, because I listened to this after Among the Living. At first I hated Anthrax. I thought they were just corny and dumb, and they swore a lot, and it just really didn't appeal to me. And that was, I believe, 8th grade going into 9th grade, or 9th grade going into 10th grade. I can't remember what years that was. But over that summer, I listened to Among the Living, and oh, there's my dog, Ripley. Hey, Rip. How's it going? And over the summer, I listened to them. I don't know how I got to listen to them. Maybe my buddy Rob let me listen to them, so it must have been 9th grade. And I grew to love them. And then the next album was State of Euphoria, and I got that right away almost, and the rest is history. So not Spreading the Disease, Among the Living, but I cannot find my Among the Living among the living thing that is the basement here. So next one, Dark Angel, Leave Scars. This was just way too heavy for me. Way too heavy. I bought it on cassette. I thought, okay, these guys look cool. It just, well, I mean, they didn't look really cool. They looked menacing. But the cover looked cool. And I thought, yeah, I'm going to give these guys a shot. But they were just way too heavy for me at the time. And I really didn't like this album. The production still is kind of shit. But it's a lot better than I remember it. Let me see who produced this thing. Michael Monarch and Dark Angel. So the next album was produced by Terry Date, and that had a lot better production, and it just sounded a lot better. The songwriting, I think, was measurably better. But once I kind of grew to really like this album, the song Promise of Agony became the thing that I tapped on the art school table constantly, irritating my friends. And God, what else was I going to say about this? I don't remember. But Dark Angel, Leave Scars. Voivod, Nothing Faced. I didn't like Voivod when I first heard them when this album came out. I had heard previous things like War and Pain, and I really didn't like that. To this day, War and Pain is really kind of a bit more abrasive than I like. I will listen to it and enjoy it, but I think it is obvious a band just starting out. Whereas by the time they got to Nothing Face, I remember hearing their cover of the Pink Floyd song Astronomy Domini, or Domine, or whatever you want to pronounce it. And I thought that was pretty okay, but I didn't like much else on there. And a friend from high school let me hear it. Here's my pup. And I just really didn't like it. It wasn't until Angel Rat that I went back to this and realized the error of my ways. So yeah, at one point I didn't like this album. What a knucklehead. Here's another band that you're going to be like, what? Yeah, I hated Jeff Tate's voice at first. When I first heard him, I was just like, I don't like that guy. And he annoyed me. I saw him in magazines, and he annoyed me, and I just didn't give him a shot. Eventually, in around ninth grade, yeah, it was around ninth grade because I knew about Queensryche. I had the original first pressing of Operation Mindcrime on vinyl at one point. I had to learn to sing Sweet Sister Mary with a skip in the first verse, and I thought it was a weird line. I was wondering why did he skip a couple words, and then I realized that there was a slight scratch on the vinyl. So I hate vinyl for that reason alone. Just because it's just, yeah, CDs are my way. And anyway, so one day I borrowed this from my friend Rob, and it was on a cassette, and I listened to the whole thing to give that, because he was like, you should listen to these guys. And I gave him a shot, and I fell in love with Rage for Order, and it still is to this day my favorite Queensryche album. The weird thing is I didn't realize that Gonna Get Close to You was a cover song for probably like 25 years. Maybe I figured that out like 5-10 years ago. When did this come out? 86. So 2006, yeah. 2006, maybe even 2010 was the earliest I knew that song was a cover song. Oh, and this version, by the way, that's the cool thing with these remasters. It has the Killing Words live. It's the acoustic version. I love the acoustic version of Killing Words. I'm going to wait on that. First time I ever heard Allman Brothers band, I thought they were the worst guitarists ever. I forgot CDs, and I had a cassette of this in my car, and I was selling stuff from my nephew, and he had it in his stack, and this and Eat a Peach. I listened to the first few songs. Let me see here. Yeah, the first few songs, and they got to like a couple solos, and I was like, what is this shit? These guys suck. And I was like, yeah, that's the worst solo stuff ever. Took the cassette out, threw it in the back seat. But a week later, I didn't bring CDs again, and I thought, well, let me give that thing another shot. And the song In Memory of Elizabeth Reed came on, and I was like, holy shit, these guys are awesome. They're the greatest guitar soloists ever. So 1 week apart, and it went from hate to love. And I have two different versions of the Fillmore East. So there is this one, which is the deluxe edition of Fillmore East. It has 2 discs. There's also another CD that has a very similar photo that's not in black and white. It's called the Fillmore Tapes, and those tracks, the drums are a little bit higher in the mix, and I'm still not sure which version I like better, because I like the fact that the drums are higher in the mix, but it brings the guitars down a smidge. So yeah. Yep. Universe Zero Heresy. The first time I heard these guys, I thought, what is this bullshit? Their lineup consists of, let me see. Their lineup consists of oboe, bassoon player, drummer, violin and viola player, bass and voice, and then a guitarist who plays piano, organ, and harmonium. There are 3 songs on this thing. The first song is like 20-some minutes long, and the last 2 songs are about 13 minutes long. And I thought, these guys, I can't handle these. I worked with 2 guys One guy's name was John, the other was Brandon. Those guys opened up my ears and eyes and mind to everything that, like Magma, Universe Zero, Vandergraaf Generator, Happy Family, um, yeah, just bunch of stuff. Magma took me about 10 years to really get into. I never disliked them, I just couldn't get into them. Now I have like two box sets that are like 22 discs together. Um, Universe Zero, if you took a classical composer and put them together with King Crimson and made it really, really creepy, that's what you get. And this album is awesome. That guy in the wheelchair, they just did that because they thought it looked kind of creepier having him in that wheelchair, apparently. This has been remastered and remixed. The bass is lower. I know the bass player, who is the guy in the wheelchair, he does not like that mix at all. He thinks it got ruined when they remixed it. I have both versions because that's the kind of person I am. I highly recommend Universe Zero Heresy. Listen to the song Jack the Ripper. First time I ever heard King Crimson, I listened to King Crimson's Beat, and my friend Dave Martin still gives me shit to this day about buying this album, not liking it, and then not listening to them for probably another 2.5 years. Then I worked at a place called Cheapo in 1994 through 96, I believe it was, or 95. Yeah, I'm not even sure anymore. And ended up seeing King Crimson on the Thrack tour. Boy, was I wrong about this album. Just the song Neil and Jack and Me alone is worth the price of admission. But you also get Heartbeat and Waiting Man. But Neil and Jack and Me is the greatest, and it has like kind of stuff that's actually the album before this. But yeah, King Crimson, I can't believe that I didn't like that. I also did not like Candlemas's Nightfall the first time I heard it because I had Epicus, Doomicus, Metallicus. I liked that, but I thought this sounded too much like that album, and I wanted them to do different stuff. What I didn't realize at the time was, like Candlemas, like Confessor, like AC/DC, they have a formula. This is it. Either you like it or you don't. You like every song pretty much, or you don't like any. And it turns out that I was wrong, and I liked all of them. So, especially when they had Messiah, those albums are fairly similar. And yeah, it's weird that I didn't enjoy this. I think I was just disappointed that it didn't get faster at all on this album. So, and there's my dog. Come here, Rip. Can you sit up? Nope. Okay. And last but not least, the album that I really, really hated was the first Mr. Bungle album. I liked the song Travolta, which then changed to quote unquote because the label made them switch it, or some legal thing, probably because of Travolta's name. And I liked that song. I hated all the rest of it. Next time I listened to it, I liked the next song. Hated all the rest of it. So every time I listened to it, I liked one more song on it, but couldn't handle the rest of it. By the time I saw these guys live in concert for this tour and all the other tours for the albums, I saw them 3 times at First Avenue. By the time I saw them for this album, I knew every song except for the last song. I wasn't as familiar with that song, and every song on this album is fantastic. So there you have it. That is a touch too much thread, or reply thread or whatever. So thanks, Mickey, for or Mike, for starting that thread on accident, I guess, or whatever. So, well, I'd be interested to see if anybody else does a follow-up video to your thread. But you didn't say it was a thread, so I don't think anybody will. I just thought it was a really good idea, and I haven't had very many good ideas for videos lately, so there you have it. Have a good night.